What is up, guys and girls? Hurricane Liz here, and we are back for the Hot 5 KDP niches, and I'm super fired up this time around. I'm excited to see what we find. We're obviously in the thick of things when it comes to Valentine's Day, so we will see a lot of books about love, a lot of books about hating love, as you saw in my secret niches video, which if you haven't already seen, I highly recommend you watch that video, as it talks about the ultimate secret niche that hardly anyone talks about because everybody is disgruntled about. So to know what I'm talking about, because I know that sounded like a mouthful, I highly recommend you take a look at it. But today, we're going to see a whole heck of a lot of love on the countdown, and we might see a couple other surprises. So as usual, I'm fired up. My cat is not, but let's go ahead and do this. All right, so here we are on my screen share, and I'm going to go ahead and jump into the hot new releases, kind of similar to what we did last time. Let's do that, and let's look at one of the niches that I've seen that's fire already, and I'm just going to call it out straight up. You're going to see that when we actually jump into the thick of things and we jump into activities book and children's books, that there are a lot of dot-to-dot books. Now, some people might not know what this is, but just picture when you go to bingo with your grandma or something like that, and they're all using those daubers and going nuts and calling bingo out and stuff like that. It's a bunch of older ladies having fun at bingo. Obviously, they might be using some kind of spiked things in their drinks, and or who knows what they're rolling on. But anyways, that's what kids use nowadays to color. So here we have a lot of these dot activity books that are absolute fire. You can see that here. This is just in the new releases children's dot to dot. So you can see a lot of similar themes in the dot to dot, as we've talked about. There's a dragon here on a magic carpet. Here's some kind of like sea creature, and there's only 3 of them that are popping up. But what you're going to see is right now when we jump back into the children's books, that there is a tremendous amount of dot to dot books. And it's pretty incredible that something as simple as a tool that ladies use at bingo is absolute fire right now in children's niches. But either way, let's jump back into, and let's go straight into activities, crafts, and games, and look at the overall niche as a whole and see what's happening. We did have a reader mention to me that this Doctrine and Covenants is a Christian religious book for kids, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if it's released by some sort of organization, but obviously it's got wind that it's pretty popular and a lot of people are buying it. But overall, I kind of really had no clue. That goes to show you my level of involvement with the religious things and such. I kind of just usually go by the simple belief, just be a nice person, right? So Bert and Ernie, we got Bert and Ernie here, who, speaking of 2 nice creatures, I guess we can call them. I don't even know what to call Bert and Ernie, but I certainly grew up on those 2. Here we got a baking book that we talked about, that any kind of cooking among kids is pretty much a hot commodity, and if you could somehow incorporate it in your creation of books, then it would be really good. So I gave some ideas the last time around on that. And again, we got Valentine's book, which is not a surprise. A ton of Valentine's books popping up. Some more Friends, which is kind of interesting. I don't get it. Maybe I'm just slow. Maybe I'll get it about another 45 minutes into my day. Here's one called Blanket, which is interesting. Again, more Valentine's. Not really a lot popping out at me immediately that makes me think like, wow, this is going to be a really hot niche. We talked about creating your own title, kind of like the creating your own interior of the books. Would you rather? Here in the real world, which is not anything major. Mermaid, Unicorn, and Princess. Again, like I say, you might as well toss one magical creature out with a bunch, and you could potentially have a hot seller on your hand. So here we have Rescue Dogs, which I think is pretty ingenious, and it's doing pretty well. I think that's great because, you know, people usually focus a lot on dog breeds, but this is a rescue dog one. So I kind of going to call this one out only because we talked last time about pets or dogs that urinate, poop, turds, and also fart. Why not make them rescue dogs? A lot of people have mutts. A lot of people have rescue dogs. Instead of buying all the corgi butt books and the pug books, they would rather buy the rescue dog books. So that's pretty much very ingenious. I've not ever seen anybody frame it like that, so I absolutely love it. Here we got some Daubers. Why not do a Dauber Valentine's Day book, right? And that's what is absolutely selling and crushing it right here. And so that one's doing exceptionally well. Here is one that's dad, and we talked about having themes for certain members of the family. Obviously, this dad one is really positioning themselves well for when June rolls around. So right now we are in January, and before we know it, Mother's Day and Father's Day is going to be upon us. So you should be consciously aware and thinking about the fact that those big days will be coming up. And I guarantee you that when those big days arrive, any book with dad and or mom are going to sell like hotcakes. So think about that all the time. Here's another theme that I've been seeing regularly, so I'm going to call this one out at the third one, and that is talking about a farm. So we're not just dealing with a single animal and or a single set of animals. Instead, we're talking with a whole farm. And the good thing about the whole farm is that gives you the ability to be able to make multiple coloring book pages and multiple activity book pages, and not so much tire the reader out from getting sick and tired of seeing those damn unicorns, which are obviously very common farm animals. A unicorn in a farm wouldn't be the same without the unicorn. So think about all the multiple amounts of animals that are available on the farm and the multiple amounts of animals that you could create pages around for activities as well as coloring it. So it gives you a lot of options. So farm animals are definitely right now really good. They're showing up just as much as bugs, which we talked about in a previous video. So still we got some Among Us thing, and here we have Miami and the Mermaid, which is kind of interesting. It's not only got a girl, a grandma, and a mermaid. Here we have Supercross Companion, which I happen to love. I'm going to call this one out. Why? That's because boys love vehicles. Boys love tanks, boys love motorcycles, boys love construction cars, and boys love all that kind of crap. So this particular book just expands upon that by moving into motorcycles. So this allows you to do a lot of different things. You could do not just Supercross, you could do BMXs, you could also do Harley type motorcycles. You could do a lot of things with this Supercross theme in general. So I really love that one a lot. I think that one would be fantastic. And obviously this is the first time that I've ever actually seen the Supercross, but it just stood out to me that much. And that's why I want to say you guys should definitely do it. With 2 reviews, it doesn't have that much. It'd be very easy to catch up to this guy right here. What else do we have here? Valentine's Day with unicorns, of course. That is a given. And Among Us, again, more Among Us and more pets, which kind of goes along with the farm theme because in general it's pets as opposed to one rabbit or one dog. I think there's a hedgehog at the end of here. Who'd ever thought you could keep a hedgehog for a pet? But I can prove it to you. I've got some pictures of handling a hedgehog, and so that's very interesting predicament that some people do get put into. And I like this one a lot. This Scissor Skills for little girls. So it very specifically calls out the demographic. In this case, it's little girls. It could also be done for little boys. It could be done for toddlers. It could be done for a bunch of different levels of kids and or age groups of kids. And here we go. I dot you. Again, I dot you. Dot markers. Grandmas everywhere rejoice. Your daubers are being used not just at bingo, but for your kids as artwork. So you can almost double up. You can buy your dauber not only to go to bingo, but you can also buy to entertain those little rugrats, which is freaking awesome, right? So daubers in Valentine's are fire. I've already mentioned that a couple times. Keep that in mind for future holidays. We should probably even mention that. So anytime there's a holiday, right now the dot to dot is hot. So next up is Easter. Get your Easter dauber books ready. Again, grandmas everywhere are going to go. They're going to fly to the store to buy this crap because of the simple fact that they can double purpose those daubers and save a lot of money. So you know grandmas love to cut coupons. They love to do all sorts of shit like that. And in fact, they will love to give their kids dauber books so they can double purpose them. Remember that. All right, what else do we have here? We've got already about 4 or 5 ideas that we've talked about thus far. Here's more dot markers. Grandmas everywhere are on Amazon buying this shit. So guys and girls, you better get this stuff produced. This one's $82,000. Next holiday up is Easter. I can guarantee you that this thing will sell like fire with rabbits and any kind of thing. You could do a rabbit doing farts, a rabbit taking a dump with daubers. What better way to illustrate the dump than just making it a dot and having them dauber it, right? It's fantastic idea. If you guys don't know what daubers are, it's the same thing that grannies use at bingo. All right, what else do we have here? The friendly shark. Wow, I guess this shark definitely doesn't hang out with the other sharks, nor dolphins, because we all know that dolphins are the bullies of the sea. So this shark is very friendly, and he's chilling with a dude there. So that's very interesting. Here's another one. We're going to call this one out. I talked about this one briefly in the last episode, but I didn't find a book to prove it. But guess what? Looks like somebody did it, and now it's $86,000 in books. This is harping on the fact that we just had New Year, but guess what? There's a lot of different beliefs. There's a lot of different people, and the Chinese happen to be the biggest group of people on the planet. There are billions of them, and why not give them a book to celebrate their New Year with? It's obviously the year of the bull is what I think it is. So why not a book commemorating Chinese New Year featuring a bull on the cover? I mean, this book sucks in general. The actual cover sucks. So I'm sorry if it's anybody's out there, but it's not very attractive. It's obviously more attractive than the shit I do because, as you guys know, I'm not an artist. And I like to call myself an artiste instead because I can't do anything on there. I'm a little bit more eccentric than artist. But I will say this much. it's still crushing it with this absolutely weird cover. And I recommend, and I think a lot of you guys and girls out there that are clearly talented artists could outdo that book in general. So already I've had about 5 or 6 ideas. I lost track. Here's another one on the farm. I think this is a second volume, but I absolutely love it. I think it gives you a lot of room to move and a lot of room to create different themes. And that's it. That wraps up everything. We've got Amy Wu and the Patchwork Dragon, which falls along the lines of the theme of dragon, which we've been talking about on, and again, Among Us. So we end the day off with a trademark infringing mofo, and obviously that's going to get shut down at some point. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this weekly update on the top 5 KDP niches of the week. As usual, questions and or comments go below. I always personally answer them, and I will see you all in the next video.